Alright, what is up, everybody? We are back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. Today, we're going to be talking about the Indiana Pacers. They have really turned their season around after a very rough start. They've been on a little bit of a winning streak, and we're going to talk all about them here in today's video. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. If you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, liking, turn notifications, do all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. It really helps out a lot. Link to my Twitter and all that stuff down in the description below. And yeah, don't waste any more of your time. Let's get right to it. So a little disclaimer before we start the video. The uploads haven't been as crazy in the last 3 days. I had a big stomach bug that I was dealing with that really took me out. I didn't have any energy, couldn't really upload, only uploaded a couple shorts. On Sunday, I didn't upload a single thing for the first time ever since starting this channel. And yeah, so I was dealing with a sickness, stomach bug, a lot of that, but hopefully, I'm not 100%, but I'm a lot better now, so uploads will be back and doing this thing. But anyway, Indiana Pacers, that's what we're talking about today. Indiana has turned their season around. They had a really rough 10-15 start to the season, and since then, now they're sitting at 22-19, sitting at number 5 in the Eastern Conference. This was, last night they did lose to the Cleveland Cavaliers, but before this, they were 6-0 in 2025. They've won 12 of their last 16 games, and they've been playing some pretty nice basketball. A lot of their talking throughout their early stretch of the season where they were really struggling was the change in their offense. This was a team that was in the conference finals last year unexpectedly. And, coming into this year, they looked a lot different. They usually were a run and gun, fast pace, run up and down the court, 135 points, high powered offense team. But coming into this year, they played a lot different. Their pace went down significantly, and early in the year, the offense just was struggling. Well, both sides were really struggling. Offense was struggling. Guys weren't hitting shots. Some of their players weren't playing at the level that we were expected to, and we already knew their defense was not very good. And it was really worrying for them. I was thinking about the Pacers. I was like, dang, a team that was just in the conference finals that has kind of fallen down to now being multiple games under 500. What's gonna happen? Like, is a big trade gonna have to happen? Is a coaching change gonna have to happen? What's gonna be the future of this Indiana Pacer team? But they have stayed the course, and now over these past 15, 16 games, they have really gotten it together. Now all of a sudden, they're multiple games above 500 and sitting comfortably in the top 5 in the Eastern Conference. How they've turned their season around, I have all their numbers. I have their numbers separated from the first 25 games and then the last 15 games. I don't have it calculated to last night's stats because I actually was planning on recording this video yesterday and putting this video out yesterday, but had some difficulties and I was still dealing with some stuff. So I decided I'm just gonna do it today, because I still wanted to talk about Indiana. So to the first 25 games of the season, they had the 19 rated offense, the 24th rated defense, and were 23rd in net rating. Over the last 15 games, the number 3 offense, the number 8 defense, and were 4th in net rating. Their offense jumping from below average to being top 5, their defense being one of the worst in the league to being top 10, and their net rating jumping from being one of the worst in the league to top 5. So, but all their ratings showing on both sides, everything has just jumped up dramatically. Looking at their numbers specifically on the offensive end, in the first 25 games, they were 11th in points per game, 6th in field goal percentage, 10th in assists per game, and 19th in turnovers per game. Over the last 15 games, 7th in points per game, 2nd in field goal percentage, 3rd in assists, and 1st in turnovers per game. A very big, a significant jump from the turnovers, being a below average team in terms of turnovers to being the best team in the league and not turning the ball over. So turnovers, a huge jump, 19 to first, which also helps, assists per game jumping from being top 10 to now being top 5. Field goal percentages jump, points per game has jump. So you see their offense, it just looks like they're more confident in this offense. It just feels like they are kind of getting used to it because also interesting enough, throughout all these numbers too, the pace hasn't really changed for this team. Their pace has kind of still been about average to a little bit below average throughout the season. So it's not like they've been getting faster. It's not like they've been changing their ways. It just kind of feels like they kind of are comfortable now. They're more comfortable in what they do. Their shots are starting to fall a lot more than they were early in the season. And just the quick decision, the playmaking has really gotten all that better from as well. Not just from Halliburton, but from everybody else. Feels like they're making the passes that we're used to seeing. They're making the one mores. Making the plays that we're used to seeing the Indiana Pacers make. It just feels like that click in the offense is back. And their defense also has been very, very impressive. We knew them as a team that wasn't really, we weren't relying on them defensively last year. And early in the year was really bad. But they picked it up dramatically. Over the first 25 games, they're 18th in opponent points off turnovers and 10th in opponent fast break points. In the last 15, they're third in opponent points off turnovers, first in opponent fast break points. So being one of the best teams in the league and not giving up points off turnovers and not giving up fast break points. Also credits them not turning the ball over, being first in turnovers, not giving any opportunities for other teams to get out in transition. But also when teams are getting out in transition, they're not giving up that many opportunities and they're not giving up extra points. So just not giving up the easy ones at the end of the day. It's just very big. Other defensive numbers. In the first 25 games, there were 23rd in opponent field goals made and 29th in opponent field goal percentage. Over the last 15, 7th in opponent field goals made, 6th in opponent field goal percentage. So teams are just not making as many shots and not getting as many shots up as they were before. And the threes have also been a big difference as well. In the first 25 games, they were 19th in opponent three-pointers made, 10th in opponent three-point attempts, and 22nd in opponent three-point percentage. Over the last 15 games, they're third in opponent three-pointers made, sixth in opponent three-point attempts, third in opponent three-point percentage. So going from being a below average teams in terms of giving up threes and teams making threes on them, to now being one of the better teams in the league at not giving up threes and not letting teams hit threes on them. So the defensive switch has really been, not giving up easy transition points and not giving up threes. And in a league where teams want to get a lot of threes and want to force a lot of turnovers, that's a really good recipe. They were from the first 25 games, they were 26th in opponent points per game. Last 15, they're 7th in opponent points per game. So the defense has taken a big, dramatic leap, and they just look a whole lot better. Again, they look more confident and look more comfortable in this offense. And it's been a huge turnaround. Tyrese Halliburton was a big talk early in the season. He really struggled to start the year. People are still wondering, is his hamstring still bothering him? Did the NBA figure him out? What's going on? Over this 15 game stretch, he didn't play last night, but over this 15 game stretch, he's averaging 19 points and 9.5 assists while shooting 49% from the field, 40% from three, 87% from the line. So the efficiency has gone up dramatically. So he's just hitting more shots. And he's had some more Tyrese Halliburton-esque games with 13 assists, one turnover. He's had some big 30-point explosion nights. So he just is looking a lot more like the Tyrese Halliburton that we're just seeing. Pascal Siakam has been having a really good season, give you 20 points per game, really nice efficiency. Betting Mathurin has been a huge spark for this team with dealing with a bunch of injuries. Betting Mathurin has come in and it's been a scoring plug that they need. Miles Turner's doing Miles Turner things. The bench has been a lot better, is getting better as the season progresses. TJ McConnell, Obi Toppin, I feel like he's having a pretty underrated season. Trace Walker has now become a rotational player, and he gives you some very good minutes on defense, and he's shooting 40% from three. So yeah, Ben Shepherd is back, and he's a three-point shooter. Andrew Nembhard's come back from his injury. They're 13-5, well 13-6 now after last night. But when he comes back, obviously having a starter back like him is huge. They're still missing Aaron Nesmith. There's another starter on this team, but they are flipping the switch, and they got some really good wins. They beat the Boston Celtics the night after losing by 37 to them. They come back and beat them in Boston. They had a close game to the Bucks that they lost. They beat Miami, beat Phoenix. They only gave them 93 points to the Cavaliers in the first game they played, and then last night they gave 127. But they were in that game until about, I want to say, midway through the fourth quarter when Benedict Mathurin got ejected. That was when, the Pacers kind of lost control of that game. But they were in that game, and especially only giving up of the last seven of this. They're 6-1 in their last seven. Out of 3 of those 7 games, they've allowed less than 100 points. So that's very, very impressive. So the Indiana Pacers have they've really turned their season around. They went from being one of the more disappointing teams of the season, being very concerned with them, to now they're kind of hitting their stride. And I feel like this is a team that really is based on, or really, once they find their groove, they go. Like you saw it last year where once they hit that NCAA tournament groove and they won a game or two, and once the people got on and everything, they hit a groove and they just shot up. And this year it took a long time to find their groove, but now they found their groove, and now look at where they are. They're just climbing up, climbing up, climbing up, trending upwards. So I feel like this is a team that is based off groove and rhythm. They have a lot of players like that. And right now they're hitting that groove and rhythm. Obviously, they're going to have to continue to keep doing this, but they also have to be thankful that they're in the Eastern Conference, where 10-15 in the East, you're still around the plane. So, if they're in the West, they probably would have got buried like what the Pelicans are right now, you know? But in the Eastern Conference, they got a lot more room for error. So you win a couple games you go on a little 5 game win streak in the Eastern Conference, and all of a sudden you're jumping high, you know. So yeah, they got to be thankful for that. But it's just nice to see them kind of find their way back after, again, this was the team that was in the conference finals last year that's very, very young, with some young pieces and is up and coming in the league. And, to see them deal with what they dealt with early in the year was kind of really like concerning. It was really like, oh shoot, like did they peak? Was this gonna be like kind of like an Atlanta Hawks situation from a couple years ago where they made the conference finals and then they just kind of felt faltered down, down, down every year? But they've picked it up. And the good thing is too, they stuck to their guns. I don't feel like there's been any crazy changes to this team from what I watch at least. I think it's more just they stayed packed, they stayed true to themselves. They battled through the injuries, battled through the kind of rough part of the season, trying to gel together, and now, here they are. Patience is key. You hear that a lot, and I feel with the Pacers, the patience was the key, where they just stayed calm, stayed collected, didn't make any crazy moves, didn't make any crazy statements, or just didn't, panic, didn't hit the panic button. They kept it, kept it cool, pushed through, and now here they are. Top five in the Eastern Conference, kind of chilling a little bit. Obviously, they're going to have to keep doing this, but right now they're kind of feeling good. So we'll see how much they can continue this, but it's nice to see Indiana find that turnaround. But yeah, it's going to be it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, liking, turn notifications, doing all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it a whole lot. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.